seems simple, doesn't it? A colorful bar on your bathroom sink or a fragrant block tucked away in a gift basket. It's something you use daily without a second thought. Just lather, rinse, and repeat. But behind every bar of beauty soap lies a colossal industrial process fueled by science, controversy, corporate rivalries, and a history far more intriguing than you might expect. Many of us never question what truly goes into these bars or how they're produced on such a massive scale. Yet, when you dig into the realities, ranging from rumored secret ingredients to alleged cost-cutting measures, an entirely different story begins to unfold. Today, we're uncovering how beauty soap is created, from the raw materials to the sparkly wrapping that calls to you from store shelves. You'll learn about the fierce competition among industry giants, the ethical debates surrounding certain additives, and why some people believe we're not getting the whole truth about what we're actually putting on our skin. But that's not the entire picture. Behind each delicate swirl of color or alluring scent is an industrial system that churns out millions of bars a day. Factories equipped with high-speed machines, advanced robotics, and strict quality control protocols are orchestrating a relentless effort to meet global demand. The question is, do these mammoth operations overshadow genuine concerns about health, ethics, and sustainability? Let's step inside the world of beauty soap production. Once you see how these bars are really made and discover the controversies that linger just beneath the surface, your next shower might feel different than ever before. Before mass production and elaborate marketing campaigns, soap was a luxury product accessible mostly to those who could afford it. Ancient civilizations, from the Babylonians to the Egyptians, understood the basics of soap making, mixing animal fats with wood ash or alkali-rich plants to create something that could remove dirt and odors more effectively than water alone. These early versions were rough and unrefined, often used for tasks like cleaning textiles rather than human skin. Fast forward a few thousand years, and soap production gained momentum in medieval Europe. Artisanal soap making became a specialized trade, with guilds forming to guard secret recipes. Many recipes used fragrant oils and colorants derived from plants or minerals, giving an early glimpse of the diversity that would later define modern beauty bars. Back then, soap was pricey and sometimes associated with medicinal or protective properties. People believed a good bar of soap could ward off disease and keep the body and spirit clean. What changed everything was the Industrial Revolution. New machinery and chemical processes transformed soap from a specialty item into a household staple. Factories sprouted across Europe and the United States, with manufacturers racing to develop faster, cheaper, and more attractive soap bars. This led to the introduction of lye derived from modern chemical processes instead of old-fashioned wood ash. Fragrances, colorants, and packaging innovations emerged, paving the way for the vibrant, scented products we see stacked on store shelves today. For many decades, major soap manufacturers kept their exact methods as closely guarded trade secrets. Rumors arose. Some claimed they used questionable chemical combinations or less expensive ingredients that might irritate sensitive skin. Others suspected that big-name brands employed marketing tactics to conceal harsh realities of production. As a result, a certain mystique still clings to the soap industry, heightening both intrigue and skepticism. But that wasn't the whole story. Just as soap's popularity soared, so did concerns about how it was being made. The line between innovative production and questionable shortcuts began to blur, signaling that even something as common as a bar of soap could carry unexpected baggage. At its core, a typical beauty soap bar requires 3 key ingredients: fats or oils, and alkali, commonly sodium hydroxide, also known as lye, and water. Combine them in the right ratios, and you'll get the foundation for cleansing properties. Yet today's soap formulas often go far beyond these basics. Highly refined vegetable oils, exotic butters like shea or cocoa, and synthetic compounds transform an otherwise ordinary bar into a foam-rich, beautifully scented experience. Despite these mainstays, controversy and rumors persist about what else goes into these soaps. Some critics allege that select brands add irritating chemicals to prolong shelf life or enhance certain aesthetic qualities, like ensuring the bar retains color even if left in a humid bathroom for months. Accusations surfaced about certain manufacturers using additives that might trigger skin reactions in some individuals. While official reports often refute these claims, the whispers in online forums and consumer circles haven't completely died out. Then there's the fragrance debate. Everyone loves a soap that smells divine, but the term fragrance on an ingredient list can be alarmingly vague. In many countries, companies aren't required to disclose the exact blend of chemicals that create a particular scent. Some speculate that these secret blends can include potentially problematic substances. On the flip side, many established brands have introduced hypoallergenic or fragrance-free lines in response to growing public concern. Beyond the potential irritants, there's also the discussion around animal byproducts. Traditional tallow-based soaps, derived from rendered animal fat, are still used by some manufacturers because they create a hard bar that lasts. Others rely exclusively on plant-based oils, emphasizing cruelty-free or vegan-friendly claims. This divergence in practices has spawned entire fan bases dedicated to investigating and sometimes exposing which companies remain transparent about their ingredient sources. The ingredient list is only the beginning. Many buyers remain oblivious to the next phase: enormous, high-speed factories tasked with churning out millions of bars. That's where the intrigue truly escalates, blending efficiency with an element of secrecy that leaves even the most inquisitive consumer guessing. A modern soap factory is a realm of gleaming stainless steel mixers, mechanized conveyors, and meticulously timed assembly lines that operate around the clock. Step through the entrance and you'll witness rows of towering metal vats, each holding hundreds or even thousands of gallons of raw materials awaiting transformation. Workers in protective gear monitor every stage, ensuring the temperature and consistency stay within exact parameters. In one massive tank, fats and oils are heated to specific temperatures that trigger the reaction with lye, an essential process known as saponification. Another mixer might blend in colorants or specialized moisturizers. Then, automated arms divert the mixture into molds at breakneck speed. Some facilities can fill and cool hundreds of soap bars per minute, using advanced cooling tunnels that push frigid air across the newly molded bars to harden them. At first glance, it's a mesmerizing dance of machinery. Mechanical arms swoop, conveyor belts roll, and robot-assisted packaging stations swiftly place bars into custom wrappers. It seems efficient, perhaps even flawless. But rumors abound about how some producers allegedly push these lines beyond recommended speeds, potentially compromising quality. Whispered stories from former employees suggest that, in an effort to maximize output, certain batches might not get the full curing time required. Others say that smaller brands, without the financial might of global corporations, sometimes rely on older equipment, which may be prone to mishaps or inconsistencies. Automation also stokes fears about job security. Some claim that entire departments once staffed by skilled workers have been replaced by robots, sparking debate about whether these changes benefit or harm the overall workforce. The companies, of course, defend their methods by emphasizing the precision and safety robotics can provide. Still, no matter how cutting-edge the production line, the final product isn't ready for store shelves without a bit of extra flourish. The beauty factor in beauty soap is often the next big reveal, including mesmerizing colors, swirl patterns, and lingering fragrances. While these additions make soap visually striking, they also invite a host of new questions about safety, ethics, and authenticity. Ever wonder how a soap bar gets that cheerful pink swirl or a dreamy lavender hue? Pigments, micas, and synthetic colorants can each play a role. Some pigments are derived from natural minerals, while others come from lab-created dyes. Critics raise concerns that certain synthetic hues might lead to allergic responses or have trace amounts of chemicals that scientists are still studying for long-term effects. Proponents argue that these colorants make soap more appealing, encouraging better hygiene practices, especially among children who might resist plain bars. The real showstopper is often the fragrance. From delicate florals to robust musky blends, fragrance is a major selling point. This is where brand identity truly emerges, as consumers form emotional connections to scents. Some people swear by a signature soap brand purely because the fragrance reminds them of comfort or luxury. However, a small but vocal community questions the vague labeling of fragrance, suggesting that hidden compounds could spark sensitivities or other health concerns. Moisturizing agents form another layer of complexity. Popular ingredients include glycerin, shea butter, cocoa butter, and various oils that promise to lock in hydration. In marketing materials, these additions often take center stage with claims of luxurious softness or restorative nourishment, yet not everyone's convinced. Some wonder if a soap heavily loaded with creams and oils can truly cleanse effectively, or if it leaves a residue that might clog pores. Occasionally, rumors swirl about unscrupulous methods. A brand might spotlight a rare botanical oil while using it in negligible amounts, just enough to list it on the label. Or they might emphasize all natural or organic on the packaging, even if the bar contains just one natural ingredient among a sea of synthetics. While government regulations exist to curb false advertising, many believe certain gaps allow questionable practices to slip through. But that's hardly the end of the conversation. Once these bars are infused with exotic scents and eye-catching color swirls, they aren't simply shipped out. Factories must undergo rigorous testing and quality control. Here, tensions can run high as the drive for cost efficiency meets the reality of consumer safety and brand reputation. No major producer wants to handle a massive recall or face lawsuits if a batch of soap leads to skin issues. To prevent disasters, large factories institute strict quality control measures. They test pH levels, hardness, lather quality, and purity, ensuring the soap meets both company standards and regulatory guidelines. In many facilities, entire laboratory teams test random samples from each batch, checking for off odors or discoloration that might point to a manufacturing glitch. Despite these measures, controversies still arise. Some claim that certain factories overlook minor red flags to keep the assembly line running. Accusations surfaced suggesting that in a relentless push to cut costs, some producers might reduce the proportion of high-quality ingredients, like premium oils or moisturizers, while maintaining brand messaging that promises luxury and gentleness. Insiders sometimes leak stories of internal memos indicating corners being cut. Though official statements typically deny these claims, such rumors persist in the shadowy corners of the internet, further fueling skepticism. Testing for potential allergens is another point of debate. While many companies do run patch tests or rely on focus groups, they're not always obligated to test on a wide range of skin types and conditions. This can lead to anecdotal reports of rashes or other adverse reactions in consumers with sensitive skin. The mismatch between corporate marketing, touting universal mildness, and real-world experiences can generate distrust and even brand boycotts among concerned shoppers. Occasionally, a major soap brand faces a public relations crisis when a batch is recalled or pulled from shelves due to regulatory pressure. Official statements might attribute the issue to a rare manufacturing error, but that rarely quells curiosity. Consumer watchdog groups often demand more transparency. In response, some companies have begun disclosing more details about their testing protocols online, hoping to regain trust. Still, in an industry dominated by a handful of global players, the question of corporate responsibility looms large. Are these giants truly committed to public well-being, or is the bottom line the ultimate priority? That question sets the stage for the fierce rivalries and marketing battles that define the modern soap market. Step into the personal care aisle of any store, and you'll likely see dozens of soap brands lined up, each claiming a unique advantage. One brand might tout pure botanical extracts, another focuses on dermatologist-tested formulations, and yet another claims to have centuries-old heritage behind it. In truth, many of these companies are owned by just a few multinational corporations locked in an ongoing battle for market share. Marketing is the first battleground. Television ads, social media campaigns, and influencer endorsements create a perception of brand personality. Some brands cultivate an image of upscale indulgence, pricing their products well above average, while others push budget-friendly bars for the everyday consumer. This intense marketing war has led to suspicions of exaggerated claims or borderline misleading tactics. Critics argue that if you strip away the fancy packaging, many soaps share nearly identical ingredients. Private label manufacturing adds another layer to the intrigue. In some cases, your favorite high-end beauty soap and the generic store brand soap could come from the same factory, with only slight tweaks in formula. Companies vigorously protect this information, mindful that if consumers discovered the truth, they might question the premium prices. It's one of the industry's open secrets, and it continues to spark heated discussions among dedicated label readers. Then there's the race for innovation. Brands try to outdo one another with new scents, textures, or packaging styles. Some experiment with shape, square bars, round pucks, or elaborate sculpted designs. Others pivot toward 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 concepts, claiming to combine soap, shampoo, and body wash in a single product. While these innovations keep the market lively, they also open the door to critiques about whether these products truly stand apart or if they're just marketing gimmicks in a new wrapper. All of this competition might sound healthy, brands striving to offer better products at better prices. But, as in any industry, rivalry can have a darker side, fueled by lawsuits, allegations, and corporate takeovers that lead to monopolistic control. The real victims might be consumers, especially if they're left to navigate confusing labels and questionable claims without consistent transparency. While brands compete for your attention, environmental concerns loom over the entire industry. The large-scale production of beauty soap often relies on ingredients like palm oil, which has been linked to deforestation and habitat destruction for endangered species. Despite certain initiatives to source certified sustainable palm oil, critics argue that the current system is far from perfect. Some even claim that big companies intentionally downplay the scope of these problems to maintain a positive public image. Packaging waste adds to the dilemma. Those sleek boxes and plastic wrappers that keep your soap bar safe might end up polluting landfills or oceans. As consumers become more eco-conscious, demands for biodegradable or minimal packaging grow. Several brands have begun experimenting with recyclable or compostable wrappings. However, rumors persist that a few major players only pay lip service to sustainability, displaying green logos while continuing to rely heavily on non-recyclable materials behind the scenes. Production facilities pose another environmental challenge. The chemical processes involved can generate wastewater that, if not properly treated, could harm local ecosystems. Large factories typically have in-house treatment plants or partner with specialized facilities to manage waste responsibly. Even so, there are documented instances of factories receiving fines for breaching environmental regulations. Whenever these violations make headlines, it ignites a fresh wave of criticism, with activists urging for tighter oversight and more public transparency. On the ethical front, concerns about labor practices and fair wages arise. While many soap factories operate in highly industrialized nations with strict labor laws, some brands outsource certain tasks to regions with more lenient regulations. This raises questions about wages, working conditions, and even child labor in the broader supply chain. Corporate social responsibility reports might claim that everything is above board, but watchdog groups argue that not all the data is publicly accessible, making it hard to verify. In light of these challenges, the growing movement of consumers is turning toward artisanal or handmade soaps, believing these smaller producers adhere to more ethical and eco-friendly methods. Yet even the artisanal sector isn't immune to scrutiny, with some critics pointing out that natural doesn't always mean safe or ethically sourced. The wave of public concern over environmental damage and questionable labor practices has pushed many soap companies to emphasize social responsibility. Corporate press releases highlight charitable donations, philanthropic partnerships, or community-building initiatives in the regions where they source raw materials. Some brands pledge to invest in reforestation projects or fair trade cooperatives that support local farmers, aiming to offset the negative impact of palm oil production. However, skeptics question the transparency of these initiatives. How much of the promised funding actually reaches on-the-ground programs? In some cases, accusations surfaced regarding greenwashing, a practice where companies market themselves as environmentally friendly without making meaningful changes behind the scenes. Consumers often find themselves sorting through contradictory claims, uncertain whether the brand's ethical mission statements align with reality. Celebrity and influencer endorsements further complicate matters. Big names often team up with soap brands to promote a luxurious lifestyle tied to the product. While this can raise awareness about environmental or social causes, critics worry these endorsements might overshadow real issues. When a celebrity's face is emblazoned on a box of soap, are consumers buying into sustainable production or simply the illusion of it? Despite these dilemmas, one undeniable positive trend is the growth of consumer education. Social media platforms brim with content creators breaking down ingredient lists, analyzing manufacturing processes, and reviewing brands based on ethical and eco-friendly criteria. Many viewers appreciate these deep dives, finding them more trustworthy than corporate advertising. This thirst for transparency has even led some companies to publish detailed annual reports that outline their sourcing practices, sustainability goals, and product safety tests. But these same efforts can trigger backlash from corporate entities or brand loyalists who feel the critiques are unfair or overly alarmist. So the cycle continues, a dance between industry claims, watchdog critiques, and individual responsibility, as pressure builds to address concerns about ingredients, packaging, and ethics. Forward-thinking soap manufacturers are exploring new frontiers. Some are experimenting with cutting-edge biotechnology, seeking natural replacements for synthetic chemicals that may pose risks to both humans and the environment. Scientists are investigating plant-based surfactants, for instance, which can provide effective cleansing without relying on harsh detergents. Biodegradable packaging is also in the spotlight. Several startups have introduced soap bars wrapped in dissolvable materials made from starch or algae-based polymers, eliminating plastic waste. Major brands, though slower to adapt, are dabbling in similar ideas, perhaps to keep pace with consumer expectations and legislative pushes toward more eco-friendly packaging. There's also a surge in personalized soap formulas. Using online questionnaires or store-based consultations, some companies allow customers to pick and choose ingredients that suit their specific skin type. This approach appeals to individuals with allergies or sensitivities, though skeptics argue that the results can be expensive and not always significantly different from standard off-the-shelf options. Still, the trend highlights a growing desire for transparency and control over the products we use daily. On the horizon, experts foresee a greater shift towards smaller batch productions that prioritize quality over quantity. Whether this model will merge well with current high-speed production lines remains uncertain. Some speculate that large conglomerates might invest in artisanal offshoots or limited edition releases to maintain market dominance without alienating eco-conscious customers. Ultimately, these future-facing efforts could reshape the entire industry. If successful, they may quash some controversies and bring about a soap that's both luxurious and unambiguously ethical. But as with all things in the corporate world, profit and cost-effectiveness will remain significant factors, leaving the final outcome up in the air. Beauty soap might seem mundane, a small item we hardly notice in the grand scheme of daily life. Yet when you dive into the process of mass production, a world of complexities emerges. From the centuries-old rituals of handcrafted mixtures to today's hyper-automated factories capable of producing thousands of bars each minute, every stage reveals intrigue and raises questions. These bars are more than just cleansers. They're symbols of global commerce, environmental consequences, labor practices, and relentless marketing battles. What started as a simple necessity has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry with the power to sway consumer habits and shape ecological debates. The controversies, whether they revolve around palm oil sourcing, hidden chemicals, or overshadowed labor concerns, push us to reconsider the items we trust against our skin every day. As innovation forges ahead, some brands are re-evaluating old methods to align with modern demands for transparency and sustainability. But it's the consumers armed with knowledge who are driving these shifts. Every purchase sends a message about what we value: ethical sourcing, green packaging, genuine quality, or simply the most appealing scent. Whether you're the person who grabs whatever soap is on sale or you meticulously research every ingredient, it's clear that the humble bar of beauty soap is anything but ordinary. One thing's for sure, the next time you lather up, you'll have a deeper appreciation and perhaps a few lingering questions about how that bar ended up in your hands. And if the world of beauty soap can teach us anything, it's that even the most commonplace items can hold mysteries worth unraveling.